If by some chance, some stroke of luck, or some act of God, you have stumbled upon this broadcast, you are listening to The Chivalry Chronicles with your host, Dr. DLH.
I'm a damn doctor.
David.
We're going to bring the tea.
refuse
To not drink during the podcast.
Yeah.
And me, Jaime.
They need to make podcast equipment a lot more expensive to get some of these clowns off the air.
Gather around as we discuss a modern, manly approach to chivalry. So I hope you're ready, because I know we are. So let's get into it. And we're back. So, was finally able to wrangle these two clowns, and DLH, finished with the negotiations and, just all the issues we have with getting DLH on.
Contract negotiations?
Yeah, again,
No,
dog.
that's not over.
It's still going.
No, but me arriving today was a good faith gesture.
Okay. We got to talk to the muckety mucks.
The powers that be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like Brandon Ayuk going in front of the stadium, but instead he's going in front of Jaime's house,
Yeah.
speeding, filming it.
Yeah. Then they got a trade. He's like, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to the Steelers.
Just pay me and it'll all be
Anyway, I'm trying this new beer that David bought. It's Shiner, but some other shit.
Ruby Sunburst. 85 calories.
And your thoughts?
Nah, it's
You don't like grapefruit?
So
it's grapefruit.
Yeah, it's grapefruit
so
and,
what you're
and
telling me is
tangerine.
that beer is not in fact beer.
There's bad beer. I guess if you want to say that.
Well, that was always the point. Let's not get off topic.
No,
I know it's going to
you're-
send you on another tangent. Let's get on.
No, let's go. So, we were talking about this. David brought a topic idea. We did a little bit, or I did a little bit of research. And I'm a big fan of Art of Manliness. It's a great website. I used to read it all the time to find just whatever it is, whatever topics they have. And David, do you want to go into what you were brought about this topic? No?
Yeah, well, it was an article that I read, and we've lightly talked or circled around the idea, and in fact, kind of alluded to it in a different sense at different points in us doing the podcast. So whenever I read that, I was like, man, this is pretty solid, because when is it acceptable for men to cry? And just to give the context. So I had came across an article in Yahoo Sports, and it was them talking to Wimby, Wembanyama. And they had asked him, because he cried early in the season, like back in October after a win, and he started crying, and people started clowning on him because it was like,
Why was he crying?
They had
Lost that tournament thing?
No, this was even before that. So it was whenever he started crying after a comeback win over the LA Clippers. So it was just a regular season game, but they came back and they won it, and he started crying about it. So people, Twitter type people were essentially clowning on him. And then more recently, whenever they beat the Blazers to win the first round of the playoffs, he became emotional again. So people started drawing conclusions in the sense that, man, this guy cries for all this non-meaningful stuff. So a reporter asked him like the next day or so, and his response was,
and this has all been verified, dude.
Yeah. So in fact, let me read from this Yahoo article. It says, one day later, Maxime Aubin of the French outlet L'Equipe asked Wembanyama about some of the fans who have criticized or mocked him for his tears. His response was quite healthy. So here's Victor. That's a tough question. I think it's first and foremost a fear of judgment, like this feeling that you have to act a certain way, social codes, I guess, Personally, I refuse to carry the burden of having to hide my emotions. And he had also kind of addressed it. It says here, Wembanyama had previously addressed his moment on the bench Tuesday after the game, explaining his reactions. And it feels like a step past, step one done. I'm personally happy to see things are moving forward in the right direction.
So is it similar to the Patrick Beverly crying after winning the play-in game?
Yeah,
remember that?
Minnesota?
Yeah, they clowned the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah. No, they did.
And it was Barkley and all that, and they're like, I guess they won the championship, you know, so we can move on. So anyway, that gets us to this article that's in, and you can go look it up. It's a good article. It says, when is it okay for a man to cry? And they actually give you, this is when it's okay. And then they also give you, this is not okay. So do you want me to just read the reasons when it's okay?
How many are there?
There's like 10. We can fly through them really quick.
Well, sure.
Let's
Or we could do the when it's not okay.
no. Let's just do when it's okay.
7.
Okay.
When is it okay?
No, say it. And now I'm really curious as to why they pegged down 10 and 7.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I noticed. But okay, these are, according to the Art of Manliness, these are when it's okay for a man to cry.
Now, time out, because the Art of Manliness, of course, is also a podcast primarily, right?
Correct.
So is this someone they interviewed, or this is Art of Manliness coming across as the source topic?
This is just an article they wrote.
Okay,
And I didn't look up the podcast because this is an old article. Mm-hmm. I want to say probably like maybe 10, 15 years old. I don't know.
Yeah, but also Art of Manliness is really good at putting forward their own stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised that this is their.
Yeah, they could have created a podcast, but I didn't look that up. I didn't think about that. So anyway, I don't think these are in order, but I'll read the first one that they have here. When is okay for a man to cry? The death of a loved one. There are few things more painful than the thought of separation from those dearest to our hearts. Death of a loved one. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna clown anybody for crying. Now, loved one can be a lot of things. I worked in Dallas as a surveyor, and my foreman, because I was on the survey crew, my foreman called off, right? He's like, I'm not coming into work today. And so the boss had to go, I had to go with him, right? Because he took his place. And I was like, hey, why is Jay not here? And he goes, it's fucking dog died. And he's on the phone blubbering and shit. Like he was like,
Basically clowning on him?
yeah, basically clowning him because his dog died. I was like, well, I mean, I'm a kid, right? I'm like, I don't know, 21. And this is my boss. I was like, I mean, it's a dog. I mean, some people like, like I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that, But he's like, he should have just come into work, because he was just pissed because now he has to go do what this guy was supposed to do. But loved one, I guess, is in question. I would assume your immediate family, all that stuff, cousins, uncles, friends. But
well, love. It's sad, but I remember when as a kid, when our dogs would die, it would be a matter of going and throwing them in the dumpster in the backyard.
Damn.
That's just sad.
Yeah, I think we did that. I mean, it sucks,
in
but
a city dumpster at that.
And I did it. I mean, I probably was like 10, 11.
What's the statute of limitation on that crime? Asking about the statute of limitations on that crime.
In the dumpster?
Throwing a dog in a dumpster.
I don't know. I mean, he was dead already, so what are you going to do?
Still against the law. You can't do that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
I don't think you can. Let's look it up. No, with it's off topic.
Okay. So 2 is the death of a beloved pet. So that one I kind of question because it depends.
Shouldn't that be together then?
Yeah.
No, one is loved one, and the other one is beloved pet. So one is specifically a pet.
Yeah, but you brought up the pet situation.
I know, but I
had a little head of himself.
Yeah, I got ahead of myself. So, like a pet, I mean, what if it's a goldfish? What if it's like a beta
It doesn't
fish?
matter. If you have, I think the objective part here is that there is emotional, like an intense emotional attachment to another living being.
Yeah.
So if it gets me out of work for 2 days, I'm all in.
I doubt it.
The subjective part is the who or the what.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't matter. Like whatever your emotional connection is, or that. I mean, it's impacted. Either way.
So those two. I mean, I don't think a lot of people would argue about those. Let's see. When you first see the new life you and your wife created. So basically having kids. I guess, I mean.
Yeah, but the birth specifically.
The birth specifically. I don't see an issue with that. Like, I don't remember crying when my kids were born.
Yeah, I don't think I cried. I mean, I was joyful.
Yeah.
I did when
I instantly got protective because, you know, the nurses come in and they take the kid and then they prick him on the foot and he starts crying. You're like, hey, what the fuck? Hey, dog, ease up on that kid.
When they're doing all the things they're supposed to do. But it looks rough, right?
Yeah, it does. They just grab them and, you know, you're like, and you know, the nurse was like, you know, kids are really resilient and all this and that. I was like, okay. Well,
no, they just don't say out loud what you're doing to them.
Yeah.
Well, they did. I mean, they did for me. So my experience was a little bit. It was still kind of rough, but they tell you exactly, or they did for me. They told me what they were doing along the way. They let me go and watch and be part of it.
Well, it's okay. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with them telling me, but the actual act of it, you know, like you know, the pain that I think it was Liana, and then with Joaquin, like when he was born. They take him out and he's asleep, dog. Like that motherfucker, he's still like that in the morning, right? And the doctor, he kind of like rubbed his face, and nothing, and then again, like harder, and then he finally like lets out, you know, a big old scream. And I was like, okay, but
that's good because next comes
yes, yeah. So you know, I just don't remember. I mean, would I see an issue with that? No.
No, I did. I cried when Isaiah was born. Not with Eliana, but she's the second born.
Damn.
So there was the intense joy, but I kind of knew what to expect at that point. And I think for me, for Isaiah, it's just because you don't, even if you think you can anticipate the emotion that's coming with it, I was blindsided by some of it I didn't know was coming.
Yeah. So the next one is when you propose to the love of your life and she says yes. I didn't, but I guess, I mean, I don't see.
Yeah, but I wouldn't judge others who.
I mean, I've never seen a proposal, you know, other than the ones that are made up and post online and shit. Whatever, you know. At the altar as you get married.
What did I get into?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, this is coming from somebody who's divorced.
Cry about it next time.
Yeah. I remember getting a little choked up, but it's just because you're like, oh shit, this is really happening type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like are your families there? Like it just, it's a big moment. So I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't, but again, even when you think there's a sort of that emotional piece that you are anticipating, you may not be able to see everything that's coming.
Right.
Yeah. I think these are all permissible.
Something that helped one of my fraternity brothers, which was my big brother in the fraternity. He's like, I guess there's like a little place off the church over there where the priest hangs out, right? That's what they told us. Okay, before everybody gets on, y'all wait here while we get everything set up, and then you bring, you know, all the groomsmen come out. And my big bro was like, all right, you're not gonna be able to like. You're gonna start this whirlwind like where they're gonna take you everywhere. You're not gonna have a chance to do anything.
Oh yeah.
So let's take a shot right now. And so you know you pat like all the groomsmen. We all took shots. The ones that are old enough to take one. And honestly, that was the only bit of alcohol I had up until like 10 o'clock that night because you're always meet so and so. You know you go around thanking people and you just don't have time to do anything. So I thought that was cool. I was like, okay, that kind of calms you down a little bit with the shot. This next one, I'm going to say no. It's kind of silly, but it's like when your beloved car or truck is essentially your first one gets totaled. I don't know about that.
Maybe you're crying because you were in it and you got an ouchie.
I don't know. That one I'm good with that.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that one too. I remember there was this girl that I really liked in college. And we had went out on a few dates, but one day she calls me crying, and I'm like, "What's wrong? What's the matter?"
Yeah,
I was washing my clothes, and after I dried, I was folding them, and one of my jeans must have fell out or something because it's not here. And I mean, she went
Well, but when it comes to women, all bets are off.
Yeah.
I mean, all bets
Come
are
on
off.
now.
But I mean,
the tangible things.
Maybe they
They're
just have their own 10.
they're more
or-
in tune with their feelings. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like,
I don't know if is that in,
I think
is
so.
that in tune though? I think
think
that
so.
I think that for any of us, emotional attachment can come at times.
No,
Maybe
I'm
this
just saying
is where this one comes from.
yeah, like I think women show their feelings a lot more than men do.
Because if this was a pair of jeans, right? Even if it's your favorite and you wear them all the time or whatever, you're going to be more the equivalent of like bummed, right? Like, oh, that sucks, or whatever comes out of your
Well,
mouth.
it depends. It depends, right?
I stopped talking to her after that.
It
That's
depends
how-
on-
I was
on-
traumatized. Like if
You
this
started
is-
crying. No, I think it depends on if it happens to like you had a bad day, you got fired.
Yeah, but
you
then
know,
that's not
and
the
then-
thing itself.
I know, but it's like that's the last straw.
So, because then that would alter this thing to say that it's okay if you lose your car after you've had a bad day and everybody was shitting
Yeah,
on you
that's-
all day.
Because if you're going to give a pass to a beloved vehicle, then I think you
No, I didn't give a
Well,
pass.
no, I'm not relating
No,
it
we-
specific to this article.
Well, but that's what we're doing. We're saying as a collective, we're going to say
No.
we're striking that one.
yeah,
right.
I would strike that one.
Yeah. So all the other ones, I think we're cool with
Something that has
Alter-
life, yes. Something
Yeah.
that is a thing, no.
At least not that thing.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know if I can't. A car is a thing.
I know, but what if you have a family heirloom that, you know,
Well, I mean, maybe that's what
see,
that's
there,
related
yeah.
there
to.
you go. That would have been a better one.
yeah, like you lost your grandfather's watch.
Yeah,
Something that
would
is
have been
connected
that
to
actual,
life.
the actual
Yeah.
emotional attachment.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that one's coming up because you've only gotten through what, 7?
That was 6. 7 is visiting sites that pay tribute to those who laid down their lives for others.
Oh, yeah.
Vietnam Memorial, watching, blah, blah, contemplating sacrifices made by your fellow men. I guess so. Like, I don't think I've ever attended somewhere where I've felt, but I haven't been to the
I did. It
Vietnam
wasn't-
War Memorial.
I didn't, but the more recent one, because I have been to something like that, but the more recent one, it wasn't in like service, but it was more gun related. When I went to Robb Elementary,
Oh, really?
yeah, and I went there to the corner where their memorial was, and I mean, when
That's-
you think about those, I mean, those are all kids who had nothing to
Yeah.
do with nothing,
Yeah.
right? And then they all lost their life. That one was a spot where I got emotional.
That makes sense. I guess attending or like going to a gravesite, that type of stuff. I mean, I don't see that on here, but that would fall in line with that. Visiting sites. The next one is describing a really spiritual experience, feeling touched by a higher power that can be really affecting. I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess I haven't had to.
yeah, yeah. I guess I couldn't clown on somebody.
No, no,
that
absolutely not.
So yeah, I would have to. Agree
So
with
far, the beloved car truck is the only one we disagree with them, right? Or do you disagree with them?
Y'all agree with this religious one?
I do. I mean, I've
Well,
I've seen people.
I'm not
that-
going to clown someone for being religious. Like I'm not. I'm more. I say I'm more spiritual than religious. But if somebody's telling me that they did and they get, and I'm like, hey, I mean, you know, you pat them on the back because I don't know how to act when people start crying.
I just maybe it's just in my mind. And like I think if somebody is you know like going through some, I can't say the kids, right? The kids are going through like baptism or communion, and they're just going through the motions of what they're expected to do. But for an adult, we're talking about men here, so men who are going to cry, that are going to go through an emotional, spiritual thing. Like,
I don't know.
happens.
I don't know if it's because I feel I'd be condemned by God for clowning on somebody.
You would be. You're already condemned, dog. There's no
But
hope for you.
But it's not-
If somebody is describing a spiritual experience that they went through, and or are touched, I would probably look at it as more like I can't necessarily say I connect with what you're saying, but I certainly wouldn't be inclined to clown on it.
Yeah,
no, because
you're saying you would clown on it.
I would not say I would clown it.
Okay.
We're talking
I would
about
give them a pass.
appropriateness for crying.
Yeah, so I would
That
feel
is
it's
inappropriate.
appropriate.
Yeah, that
But
is
that's
appropriate.
where I'm wondering under what situation, because
It's
I keep thinking about these people, and this is maybe what some of the things I've seen, media and all that stuff that are in my mind. But the people that do very performative things, like the one with the healing power, whatever, when they're basically just punching your ass in the forehead, and then you fall back and you're saved, and you get some people that
I don't think that falls on
all that stuff.
I don't think that falls under that.
So this is maybe I just need a real world experience to deal like
Okay,
that.
so my cousin. So when I first moved to San Antonio, we were here maybe about a year, and my cousin's daughter, who couldn't have been more than 12, had a really bad tumor. It was called a glioma. It just wrapped around the right underneath the brain, and so she passed away. But that's the end part. Where she was going through treatment here in San Antonio, they would come in and out of town because they were from Del Rio, and they stayed with us whenever, just because it gets expensive, and she was here for a long time. And so I'd go with them because one, they were like, hey, Jaime, can you talk to the doctor, tell us what's going on? I was like, cool. And they brought a priest, right? And I didn't attend it, but when they were talking about it, they're like, when he was kind of praying over them, they said they felt
like a relief or something.
Yeah, like, because they knew, at the time they were like, we think she's going to get better. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't happen, but their retelling of that story, and even then they were getting, but it's tied to your baby. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So which to me gets a little bit more into like maybe you're drawing from number one here.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is before that, but yes.
Yeah, but even if it's not the loss, it's an impending, right? Like it's coming. You see it coming.
But they felt a spiritual
relief.
Yeah, it was a spiritual experience to them. Like if I was there, I don't know if I would have felt anything, but they did, and I don't discredit or try to. I'm pretty sure they felt what they said they felt.
Yeah, it was definitely their truth.
Yeah. Now, in clarity, I'm not going to clown anybody for any of this stuff because
it looks like you are. No,
it looks like if it makes you.
Why are you winking? Why are you winking?
I was praying before this podcast, and you were just there giggling.
Yeah, right. Sure, you were. If it makes you a better person, feel better about the the turmoil or anything that's going on or whatever, like that's you, right? I'm not here to judge any of that. What I'm trying to do here is take the item that you're reading at its like face value. That's really all I'm trying to do. I think so. Read that one again.
Describing a really spiritual experience, feeling touched by a higher power can be really affecting.
By a higher power. I guess if we talk about the the emotional connection between whatever's happening and what I'm saying is one.
And I think it's
but in a religious ceremonial element.
I think it's harder to explain when it just happens to you, when you're the lone person having that experience, and then because people tell me stuff like that all the time, like. And it's usually after something big, an accident, or they felt something and their parent got sick. It's like I felt something, or I woke up, or like I get calls.
Intuition.
Yes, like I get calls from my mom every once in a while, like, everything okay? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, well, I had this feeling, I had a dream, and I was like, no, I'm good. But I think whenever it's communal, like when we do the circle, right? When we do Legacy Weekend, and everybody gets around and talks. That could be considered, because you kind of do get in your feelings, because it's, you go in there and you say what you're thinking, and then it just becomes an experience because everyone is.
Yeah, but we're all real world people talking to one another in order to evoke an emotional response, whether it's internal or external.
But you're pulling from something.
I get it, but we're talking about spiritual, which means
I was just
in a large
equating
sense,
it as
but
a
in a
communal.
large sense, you can't talk to a spiritual thing. It's got to be a feeling.
You can talk,
or you can talk, but the thing is, whatever it is not going to talk back. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about in this.
God, please strike this person.
Right. Okay, but even if it did, like, there's no verbal, there's nothing. So every deal would have to come from you.
It depends on who you are and what you think and what you believe. Some people can take anything from anything, right? They can say, like, show me a cardinal. Oh, that's somebody close to us.
Well, this again, I guess, would get into the objective subjective part, right? Like if the objective piece is that you can feel any sort of emotional attachment to anything religious and spiritual, and it evokes tears, well, so be it.
And I think I think part of it is when you do spiritual stuff, it's the same as you going, I think I'm going to be good. Like, I think things are going to work out. It's a affirmation, and you're putting positivity out into the world to gain back positivity, right? It's sort of that's how I see it. That's how I see praying. Like, I don't pray. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like normal people do. Maybe when we go to church, maybe I'll say, hey, take care of my parents, take care of my family type stuff. But as far as a legit prayer, like you were taught, I don't do that. I'm like, but I see how it helps people. They're putting positivity out and they're hoping to get it back.
Right. Which is, I think that's the objective versus subjective that I'm talking about, right? Because some people, maybe those who don't pray, might say like, well, you're just doing a pep talk, a self pep talk, but in a different way.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's the objective piece, is just you're just giving yourself that pep talk. And then the subjective piece is whether you're going to judge somebody else for doing it in a certain way.
Right.
Which, of course, we shouldn't. So if somebody's going to do this and it makes them get across what they need to be a better person, have at it, right? If
You know
it brings
what?
tears, so be it.
I read an article that said that if you're having an issue, if you can't solve something or you're struggling with something, to verbalize what you're feeling and slow everything down.
Yeah.
And just the fact of verbalizing calms you down and then helps you get clarity and then figure out what you're going to do. And I was like, that's praying. That's what praying is,
Journaling too.
Yeah.
Because journaling, if you write it down, it forces you to slow down.
Yep.
And then after you get all the thoughts on paper, if you go back to the beginning and you read it, and then you give that person who's experiencing that advice from your perspective, and it helps with your problem solving.
Like, suck it up, bitch. All right. Next one.
Which is what, number 8?
Number 9.
Number 9.
So we got 2 more. As an athlete, after the final game match event that you will ever play in, you'll never be in as good shape again. You'll never experience this level of camaraderie again. You'll never push yourself so hard every day. So basically, your last game.
Retiring, yeah.
You're retiring. And I guess, I've seen it. When players get celebrated, it gets kind of silly, especially in the NBA, where every stadium or every venue celebrates something. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't like the farewell tour?
No. I'm saying it gets, after a while, it's like, okay, yeah. Oh, they said bye to him at the Coliseum or with the Clippers, and now he's over here. Because every venue celebrates him, and so
an away game.
It gets
a farewell.
Yeah, because with Dirk, he had his last game was in San Antonio, and the Spurs gave him a kind of a a tribute to him with the video. They stopped the game, that type of stuff. And he had just had one in Dallas, which was his last home game. He had one with the Clippers. It just kind of gets.
Yeah, I think that's cool for anybody who's had a pretty big effect on the game.
But after a while, it's like, at what point?
Yeah, but I don't know that Dirk was crying after every single one.
He was crying in Dallas.
Maybe in Dallas because
that's where that connection comes in.
And then here, I don't think he was crying, but you could tell he was emotional.
Yeah, here it's more just gratitude. But I think those are 2 different things, though, right?
It's the last game that you ever played.
Right, but in Dallas, because you're like, it's your last home game. Yeah, that's where your home is. And then you go and it's your last actual game. Yes. Yeah, those are 2 different.
So he had a little bit. Liana's dance team was the halftime entertainment. Mm-hmm. Like their squad did, their routine. So that was kind of cool. That's why we ended up going. I probably would have gone anyway, but I think that's okay. What I don't see here is like big game, winning the championship, winning a hard fought game. You know what I'm saying? In the play, I would think playoffs.
Not crying after that?
No.
Not giving
crying at like when you won a championship, like you finally did it, like that. I don't see an issue with.
Yeah, I don't see. Okay, I thought you were.
No. I'm saying that's what the final game.
I think, but it depends though on the reason really, because what we don't know about Wemby that we can relate to any player, right? Is if he cries at the end of a regular season game where they were losing by a lot, maybe he contributed more than he thought he would contribute because of things that we don't all see, right?
Yeah, I kind of pinpoint it down to when you put real effort behind something and you had to earn it and you had to work really hard for it, and maybe nobody else knows that story except you and everything that you had to go through. So doing the Spartan sprint versus doing Guadalupe Peak, I'm sorry, I'm not going to cry with the freaking Spartan sprint other than I lost $120.
Well, isn't a regular season game the Spartan sprint?
Yeah, it could be. However, where I'm getting at with, no. If you heard, I said for me,
yeah.
Where I'm saying that the past could be, and I think you were alluding to it as well, and that is whenever it's your effort, maybe the rest of the world doesn't see what you put in to get to that point or to cross that hurdle.
But you would clown someone crying after a Spartan sprint.
Yeah.
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, he would.
So, so you would clown Wemby for crying after a regular season game.
No, because he didn't pay $150 to. He got paid.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Regular season game. It depends.
But it depends on what he was dealing with, though.
Yeah, like I remember Brett Favre played on the Monday Night Football game after his dad had passed away, and they won the game. It was a exciting ass game, and I remember him getting choked up, and which within good reason. Like he just lost his dad and still played that game and played well. And
so for the
Brett Favre's a piece of shit, just for the record.
Yeah.
But that game was.
But for the
was
purposes of this,
my dad
list,
showed me how to steal that government money.
for the purposes of this list, he would be also invoking number one.
Yes.
Right. So if we're talking about the sport in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
My experience, I have experienced this before. Again, it was emotion that I didn't see coming when I finished my first marathon. Right. And this is of itself. There's no other outside influence aside from, I don't know, maybe hearing that because of my size or weight or whatever, you're not somebody who can run marathons. You're not built for marathons. Yeah. And I went through all the training, which of course sucks along the way, but you're also kind of surprised at what you can do. But none of that, I think, fully prepared me for actually finishing the marathon. This is only my first one because I ran a total of 4. And the crying only happened after the first one. I crossed the finish line, and then it was like a wave of emotion came over.
Really?
Crying. I couldn't help it. I didn't see it coming. It just was. And then
Probably exhaustion.
And then, no, because then afterwards, I remember like immediately after crossing the finish line, this is in Central Park in New York City.
Yeah.
I crossed the finish line. I immediately started, like crying. I just didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
They put the medal on you. I go over as soon as the guardrails are off, and I just sat on the nearest hill I could find, and then watched the rest, and just kind of took it all in. The scene, what it felt like, seeing others runners cross the finish line.
I think I'd be pretty mad if I ran a fucking marathon. I mean, fuck this bitch.
But that's how I felt at the time, and it just, I think it had to have been the emotional tension that you are holding along the way. I think that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. You hold some sort of emotional tension,
yeah,
and then something happens that is essentially tantamount to like the release button, or you release the pressure.
Yeah. But in on this list they talk about your last game. I think you can add winning a championship. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
We've seen, anywhere from Michael Jordan.
But the reason why we're saying it's okay is because we're seeing all the elements that go into it, and those have already been validated by us as society, right?
Right.
Where I'm getting at, and I think where your emotion came from, is just whatever it is that nobody else necessarily was privy to.
Yeah,
they weren't privy to. If you put that much work or whatever you put into it, and it was so much so, yes, the world can clown on you, but it's because they're not in your shoes to know, well, what they didn't realize is I was on my deathbed before I started this journey.
But then it wasn't just that. It's other stuff leading up to that. Are you trying to get back to saying it's okay for Wemby to cry during a regular season game? Is that where this is going?
Well, what I'm saying is even though
no.
though
I think so. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, even though you would, even though I would be clowning from it, I think once
would be clowning.
Once I received
Pick a player you hate, and if he did it, you'd clown him.
No,
That's kind of
Yeah.
No. Once
That's
once-
exactly what it is.
No, once I received the
Luka
context,
Doncic if he cried
F
after
that mother.
so you would clown him. You would clown him.
'Cause look at him.
so,
No.
so I think if that
No.
Yeah.
That's really not what I was getting at. I'm actually of the mindset that I shouldn't be clowning because I don't have
yeah.
the context as to
absolutely
why,
which is
they
what we explained
got to where
to
they
you
are.
last time. Like you don't we had the same conversation when we were talking about that, and we're like, look, that person finishing that sprint, the Spartan sprint, maybe had a terrible knee injury, and this is their big moment,
or significant weight loss,
Yeah,
and
or
they
something.
couldn't have accomplished.
I
this
get it.
with-
and
That's
you're
what I
like,
just
and you're
said.
like, well, but you're. I get that.
No,
but that's not what this is. That's what we're talking about.
Everything that I was saying on my end was just to be freaking silly.
So you're not honest when you come on this podcast.
No, I am.
Damn.
So you're saying you're bullshit and wasting my time.
No, I mean,
If this is the first podcast you've heard from the
'Cause
Chivalry
because
Chronicles, this is what we deal with.
How is any of this right now chivalrous?
It is not. It is not.
so we reached the 10th, right?
No.
Oh, okay, get
that was
the
not.
10th because I want to see where they're saying.
Where you
we
don't.
shouldn't cry.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Okay.
So the next is like while watching any of these following movies, and most of them okay, but some of these I've never seen. So like Field of Dreams, I guess so. I've never seen Brian's Song. Shawshank, I've never cried during Shawshank. The Pride of the Yankees, I've never seen. Old Yeller, I don't think I've seen. Iron Giant, Life is Beautiful, Saving Private Ryan, Rudy, Braveheart, Dead Poet Society, Friday Night Lights, We Were Soldiers, Gladiator, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Champ, Glory, and It's a Wonderful Life.
So essentially, they're just permitting crying at.
Movies, like sad
yeah.
movies, like It's a Wonderful Life. That's a good fucking movie. So
Yeah, but I didn't cry at that one, but that one is a sob story all the way through.
yeah,
until you
no,
get to the very
it's
end.
yeah.
But
I don't know movies.
but I can think of some, or like one of the ones that really comes to mind.
I don't see Rocky on here.
No, Rocky's not on there. And there's a movie, I believe it was just called Life.
Get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you.
Did y'all ever see this movie that was called Life? And I think it was Michael Keaton.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
one.
okay.
Oh, where he's dying of cancer? or
Yes.
whatever?
Yes, we talked about that one.
But the fact that he's dying of cancer, okay, that's sad or whatever. But when he starts making the series of
The
videos,
Yeah, when he's how to shave.
yes, and then he
Up or
starts
down,
struggling
not
with,
this way.
with even being able to do it, and
Yeah.
then needs help. Like that was very like.
Yeah, that was the one I was telling you. It was the first time I had seen my uncle cry because we were watching it. I'd come home from college and I was watching it, and so he sits down and watching it, and then I'm like, my uncle crying. I was like, and that tripped me out that because I'd never seen a grown man cry. Like my dad doesn't cry at anything. I've seen him maybe once, and that was sort of like he did the, and then he just got up and left. And that's when my grandmother passed away. Like that's the only time. And so seeing his brother, older brother, actually like, not like blubber and all that, but cry. I was like, wait, man can cry? You know, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's a great movie though.
Well, have you ever cried at a movie
I'm trying to think of,
besides Tombstone?
no, Tombstone is like
It's all Rocky.
Rocky.
You didn't cry when Doc Holliday died?
No,
Oh man.
no, because he looks at his feet. He's like, huh? You know, because you're supposed to die with your boots on. He's like, oh.
Yeah. No, you can't cry at that scene because Doc
No.
Holliday won't let you. He's
No. Maybe It's a Wonderful Life because we watch that movie during Christmas every year. That's a good movie. But some of these other ones, I mean, Gladiator, I don't remember if there's a part where you would cry on Gladiator.
No, only when he dies.
I love Braveheart. It's like been my number one movie. I can't think of a part where it's that. Maybe when he dies too at the end. No spoilers, you know. That movie's 30 years old.
Yeah,
so.
if you haven't seen it by now.
Saving Private Ryan, no. I don't remember anything in Saving Private. I fucking love that movie. That whole beginning scene. I used to test my audio equipment when I do the speakers. You know, that was my Saving Private Ryan. Some of these other ones, Shawshank. I don't remember crying in Shawshank. Like I haven't seen that movie in forever.
And
Field of Dreams. I don't remember. You know, it has to be
in
a real.
Shawshank Redemption. When would you cry? That,
I have no idea.
I mean, the whole thing kind of sucked.
Well, the
Wrongly accused.
viejito that died.
Yeah, but
Or that
that's
killed
more of
himself
a sad nod of the hat. I don't think it was cry.
I can't.
But then they both wind up on that, whatever that name of that beach is, at the end. So
I would say there's some. I just can't think of any.
I know I have cried at
And
several
you know what?
movies before.
And I'll tell you this, it became more of a thing. Like probably before I had kids, it just wouldn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We were brought up very, you don't cry. My grandmother,
But it
my
changed
mom's
you-
mom.
But after
Yeah,
kids,
but
it
having
changes your
kids-
sense of emotional attachment.
Well, it also cuts down your testosterone. That's what they said.
Is it?
Yeah. So what happens is you become more
Then explain why your dad doesn't cry.
because you don't give a fuck about us.
Because
he's like, fuck them kids.
of testosterone.
No, but
And
he's
instead of crying with
he's
that
totally
much
different with his
testosterone,
grandkids though. He
you
is
start
not.
saying like that's bullshit.
Yeah, with his grandkids, dog, he's a shadow of himself. He's so fucking nice, and like I'm like, bruh, get the fuck out of here with that. But when you have kids, I think, especially because my first child was a girl, right? I had a daughter, so then I started watching all the Disney movies, and and then
I finally get to see these
Yeah.
movies.
Oh, did you cry at any cartoon movies?
Nemo, maybe.
What the hell?
Oh. I can't remember because that's the only movie I think of because Liana used to watch that fucking movie every day when she was like 1 and 2. Like,
You know which one I cried at that gave me a little bit of it surprised me was Encanto.
Encanto's a good movie
Right. But
Yeah,
because
and
of
at
the
the end-
tension with the
with the grandma,
Yes.
the villain of the
Uh-huh.
movie.
and how all that when they finally start to reconcile
When she opens the door, and, it's like we made this doorknob and
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
that can get sad. But fuck that old lady. Dog.
Okay. All right, moving on.
She's terrible. She is the worst part of that movie. I hate her. So anyway, when it's not okay for a man to cry. All right? Y'all ready for this?
No, but go ahead.
When your favorite sports team loses.
Oh yeah, that's not.
That's funny and agreed. When those around you are looking to you as a source of calmness and strength, sometimes your loved ones need you to be a rock. That's a touchy one. That's a slippery slope. And I agree, though. I agree.
Yeah.
But I think some people wouldn't.
I
think
I think it's just healthy if you have your place where you can do that. But I do understand that for those around you, you have to be the rock.
And as the dad, the head of the you can't.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah, whether it's appropriate or not, I think that's
No,
how we
you
were
can't.
raised, and that
Yeah,
just
you
is what
can't.
it is.
Number 3 is to the point of irrational thinking or paralysis when you have a job to do. So I wanted to strangle Upman in Saving Private Ryan when he cried in the stairwell while his fellow soldiers were being killed. When you have a job to do, get it together.
Oh yeah, finish the job, then cry about it.
Don't cry at all.
Well, I mean, if you have to, because you're holding the tension of that
Yeah.
emotional state. Or
I think when
whatever.
you have a job to do, I mean, you can do the job while crying, I guess, if you have to.
Yeah, well, as long as you get the job done, I think that's the
Yeah.
premise of that one. Right?
It says, when you don't get your way, were we talking about like a 5-year-old?
Oh yeah, that's a tantrum.
Yeah, little boys cry when they don't get what they want. Men are disappointed
I mean, if you saw
or
a grown
resilient.
man cry because he didn't get what he wanted,
That would make you president.
Bro, have you seen the video where they make his voice sound like a 6-year-old? It's perfect.
Oh, that was so good. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, I think.
Let's end the podcast right there.
Yeah. Dun, dun. When you're frustrated, crying because you're overwhelmed and don't know what to do is a cop out. You don't have the strength to think of a solution, so you cry. You don't have to think at all. Man up and figure out your next move.
I think you could do
Guess
both.
So
No, I think you can do both.
when you're frustrated.
Well, I think there's a pressure valve that
That needs to be released at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And if the tears do that, then do it, and then move. Like get going.
Yeah.
Don't sit there. Don't cry and then sit there and then recry and then recry and then like you got to move.
So I think what this article kind of missed the point when I read it is I think it's becoming more and more acceptable for men to cry. But I think that when you overcry, it's just
You're a
you should never do it, right? Like you're used to seeing men cry, right? Just like the one, like I've mentioned this before, like in Glory, when he's getting whipped and that one tear rolls down Denzel Washington's face. Yeah, that's okay, right? But just like a blubbering, wailing, all that shit, that's never okay, I think. It's just no.
I mean, I think that how somebody cries is a bit.
I think you would get judged if you're that crier.
Okay, but being judged would not. If you could take that part out, right? Because this is what Wemby gets into when you're talking about holding the tension of everyone else's expectations, which it should not be part of the equation. It is, but it shouldn't be part of the equation. If you need to release that emotional tension through crying in order to move forward effectively, then do that. I think that's where I would go with any of this stuff. If you have tension built up because of your emotional connection or emotional attachment or any of these things, I just feel like the only negative part is if you stay in it. If you cry and then
that's what I'm saying.
And then you brood and then you ruminate and you do it repeatedly and you're not doing anything. You're just staying in that moment. Then it's too much, right? Like do it in order to release the tension, and then what's your plan?
Yeah.
What can you control, and then work on that and move forward.
Yeah, because in one you cried, in the other you're a crybaby.
If that's what you do, and you
because
require,
if you're doing it repeatedly, and it's like, man, this guy just lives in that.
And you always
you're a crybaby
always
at that
need
point.
an outside source to soothe you.
Yeah.
Like then that yes, I would go. I don't know that I would call them a crybaby to their face. Maybe they would need to be told that.
Crying.
I don't know.
They'd start crying.
But essentially, you're correct. I would say in that if you you have to learn to self-soothe and then work on the things that you can control and go.
Yeah. Well, I think as an outsider, if they were able to sit alongside you, one, like, hey, he cried because of X. People can sympathize with that. Where it starts getting annoying or where it starts turning the curve is where you get labeled a crybaby. Like, man, this guy's still crying over this issue. He needs to get up and get moving and get back to living or whatever.
So the next two, like the one is like during any of the following movies, I guess you're not supposed to cry. And these are all movies that are for the like rom-coms or like movies that women love. Like Beaches, Steel Magnolias, Little Women, Jerry Maguire, The Notebook, and Ghost.
Hallmark.
And any of the following movies.
Those are not appropriate for this? What? I disagree with that.
I don't know. But number 6 is the funniest one to me, is like in baseball. Because there's no crying.
There's no crying.
Which is a great movie, League of Their Own. Such a great movie.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's 7. The when you're not supposed to cry, I guess it's okay. I mean, there's a couple that are kind of hokey.
Well, but I mean, and in general, this seems to be like the appropriate it really seems to lean towards the emotionality, right? Like permitting emotionality for whatever these elements are, whether it's religious or love connection with somebody else.
Yeah.
That's emotional. The whole second half, the do not, seem to be largely connected with don't stay in your tears when you got things to do.
Well, some of these is like you just don't do it. Like, like when your favorite sports team loses, they're just saying don't do that.
Yeah, well, because that's...
Well, I didn't cry, but when the Spurs lost that championship to Miami,
Game 6
with the dagger 3, I mean, I
cried.
I mean, it.
You cried.
I felt drained, like I had cried. Now, a physical tear.
It's okay. It's okay if you cried, David.
No,
it's
I
okay
didn't.
If cried.
But I even remember. I remember going to the office.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I'm just saying.
I remember going to the office the next day, because at that time I was in a physical office, and it was somber. I mean, you talk about quiet. The entire office. It was just a weird,
I think,
gloomy feeling. And like I said, it wasn't like
See, I
actual tear came out, but it was the feeling like you had just cried your heart out and you're just waiting. You're in that area where you're trying to just, shake it off, and you can't. You're not ready yet.
I think I get more pissed off than anything, and especially like when there's big losses, like I'll just be I'm like, all right, well, I think as you get older, they're less impactful, right? They're like you feel the losses, but not when you were, 20 or 25. You're more. It feels like you're like the biggest loss that I remember was that '94 NFC Championship game, which you probably didn't. You're probably too young. When Dallas lost to the Niners. 14. Yeah. So I remember that loss, and I remember just sitting in my dorm room, just like staring at the TV, like, what the fuck? And I don't remember crying. I just remember going like, what the, like that. And then just not doing anything that night, just sitting there going, what the fuck, And so when you get older, you learn to compartmentalize, right? Like, okay, I'm going to be pissed off about this and then I'll move on. But like Monday, I'd be making breakfast and something, and it'd be like, "Fuck," It's like, and Letty would understand. She's like, "Your Tourette's is coming out," because it hits that. You know what I'm saying? That fucking So, but no, yeah, it's kind of silly. But like if I'm taking, Joaquin's 19 now, so he's kind of past that threshold. But if I had taken Joaquin to a game and it's a big game and he's crying, I mean, whatever.
But a player, do you give a pass to a player in a game? This is an actual player that his team lost, played in the game or whatever.
It has to be a big game,
and
it has to
lost.
be a big game.
I would give them
a finals.
I would give them a pass, just simply because I would think in their mind it's the end of a journey. And you went that far, and you didn't accomplish your goal.
If it's a big game, then yeah,
whatever. That's how you emotionally regulate.
I remember Patrick Beverly getting, which I clowned too. I was like,
because
bruh.
Patrick Beverly talks so much shit all the time.
That's kind of where I felt specifically with a guy like, it's almost like if Draymond Green, same thing. Just because of
who they are,
his antics or whatever, it's like you deserve it kind of thing almost. So that's where the clowning comes in.
Now, if they legitimately tried to cry in peace somewhere off to the side because they're tired of playing the villain or the character that they play or whatever, then fine, do your thing off to the side.
But my
when
point
they
is,
try to do it for the
regular season
cameras
game
or out in the open, and because it's just another display of their antics,
it's a regular season
drama.
game. But I think as a leader, as the face of the organization, you needed to compose yourself in such a manner to where you're.
I don't have to be,
just like it says here, for those around to look to you as a source of calmness and strength. That's when it's not okay.
Conform to social convention. I mean, if you're in a position of strength, because everybody
They're
being emotional at the same time can be difficult. But aside from that particular situation, which is not going to be all the time, right? If having to cry, this is getting back into the comment I already made earlier, if having to cry is going to release the tension in order for you to emotionally regulate, self-soothe, and do things that you need to move on effectively, then do it. I really don't. I'm not going to scrutinize under what situation you do that, because your emotional range can be different than mine. The things that you're going to cry at are going to. But it's also different too if we're talking about it in our context, because it's not like we are going to go to any athlete, whether Patrick Beverly or Wemby, and clown them directly.
Yeah.
Right? We're not going to talk to them. We don't know them. Here we can say it, and as a fan of one team, you're going to be like, crybaby or whatever. That's just more. That's because we're more making fun of each other.
And I saw it too, but I was like, whatever. I mean, would I? I mean, as a fan, I'd be like, it's a regular season game. No, I think it's a little off.
I wouldn't care either way unless it was somebody.
Yeah, but you're also not that big of a sports fan, so you know what I'm saying.
Sports fan,
but not that big of a sports fan.
No, I'm I watch all sports. I'm a big sports fan in general. I don't get emotionally involved in sports. So, like, if a team that I like loses, then like I have the same shit or that sucks or whatever. Yeah. But they're gonna come back again next year. That just right. Like this is a cyclical thing. There's no sense of me getting tied up emotionally in that. So I don't.
But that's part of being a fan is.
Well, but that's my emotional element only goes so far in that, and then I don't. So whether other fans want to judge that or what, I don't really care. That doesn't matter much to me. I like sports the way I like them. That is what it is. I think that when it comes to this sort of stuff and about the things that people need to cry about.
Yeah, after every game.
I don't care if it's what.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that would not be normal. You'd be like, man, what the fuck is wrong with this dude?
Yeah, but
after every game.
But what do I care as long as the player is not
performing.
If he's not being performative about it and overly dramatic and he's trying to do it on his own because that's how he does. That's what he does.
So back to when it's okay for a man to cry. I think we were fine with all of them except for
losing your car.
And
you with crying at
no, because I agree with this one.
At a regular
No, I agree with this. This one says as an athlete after the final game match event that you will ever play in. I agree.
I think we all agreed on that one.
Yeah. So let's issue the verdict. We're good with all these except for the one with your car being totaled. And as far as when it's not okay for a man to cry, I mean, I'm good with the first one when your team loses. Those around you look to you as a source. I agree with that one. To the point of being irrational, yeah. When you don't get your way, when you're frustrated, and in baseball. The movies, I mean, I've seen 3 of those movies. I mean, I didn't cry at Jerry Maguire. I didn't think Jerry Maguire was a sad movie.
Oh, no, I cried at that one.
Jerry Maguire?
Yeah.
I don't know what point. Oh, Yeller, I remember. That one was sad, but I was a kid, too.
No, this says you're not supposed to cry at these movies.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's because they're telling you not to cry at what they're essentially calling chick flicks.
I guess Jerry Maguire is a chick flick, yeah. It's regarding a sports agent, but...
Yeah.
The Notebook, I finally saw it a couple of months ago, and it was a pretty good movie.
It was good. I think I cried at that one, but it was.
I don't think so. Ghost, I freaking love Ghost. We used to watch that shit all the time.
Yeah, I don't think I.
It's hilarious. It is. Whoopi Goldberg is
she's funny. Yeah,
she's awesome in that movie.
Yeah, you in danger, girl.
Yeah, Molly, you in danger, girl. Beaches I never saw. Steel Magnolias I never saw. Little Women I never saw.
Then those are cry-worthy movies. Beaches and Steel Magnolias.
I didn't watch those two.
Yeah. So I think we agree on when it's okay for a man, when it's not okay for a man to cry. I don't really see any on here that I disagree with. The one in baseball, I guess. It's just funny. But it's a great movie. So there you go. Come up with your own list. Put it on our freaking comments and like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on your social media, and or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram and X. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.